All right, let's take a live look here at the Senate floor, where lawmakers are holding a rare Saturday meeting right now. They are set to hold this closely watched procedural vote on Trump's mega bill at the top of the hour. So this is a vote to vote, essentially. It's a high-stakes initial vote where the Republicans, they can only lose 3 votes. And we've just learned moments ago that 2 of the key holdouts now say they will vote yes to advance the Senate's version of the big, beautiful bill, as they call it, this mega bill. So that's Senators Susan Collins and Josh Hawley. Now, if the motion to proceed clears, then we'll see the chamber debate this bill, then move on to what's called a vote-a-rama. So this is just the beginning of what could be a very long weekend. I hope they have their sleeping bags. Republicans are racing toward an initial July 4th deadline, a self-imposed deadline to have the bill on the president's desk, and it is quickly approaching. But Trump seems to say that this deadline might be soft now.
How important is the July 4th deadline to you?
It's important. It's not the end all. The problem we have is that it's a great bill. It's a popular bill, but we'll get no Democrats only because they don't want to vote for Trump. If that bill was their bill, oh, they would be so happy. It's so great for our military. It's great for everything. And they would normally vote, but because their hatred of Trump, they have Trump derangement syndrome at levels never seen before.
All right, we're going to welcome to the show our power panel, Alex Zdan, a GOP political strategist and former U.S. Senate candidate for New Jersey, and David Tafuri. He is a former Obama campaign foreign policy advisor and former State Department official. Welcome back. Great to see you guys. Alex, I'll start with you. We learned moments ago Senators Tillis, Paul, and Johnson are no's to advancing this bill. So what do you think happens later today? Will they be able to meet this July 4th deadline?
We'll have to see on the July 4th deadline, but I would expect this procedural vote to pass. And here's what I'm looking for when it does pass. If that does occur, it seems that the horse trading is probably at an end. You've gotten the yay votes you're going to get. The no votes are probably going to stay no, and you move forward from there. This is always a process. This happens on any big piece of legislation, Republican or Democrat. The idea behind the leadership's efforts right now is to move this through, keep it moving. Forward movement is good, backward movement is bad, and we have seen nothing but forward movement today.
And David, do you want to throw some cold water on those accusations by President Trump that if you don't like this big, beautiful bill, you have Trump derangement syndrome?
No, there's a lot to not like about this bill, and I don't think it's fair for President Trump to say that if you object to the bill that you don't like him or you have Trump derangement syndrome. Let's first start with the fact that the bill actually is going to increase the national debt. And one of the things that President Trump said he was going to do during his campaign, and I think a lot of voters expected, is that he was going to actually reduce spending and in order to balance the budget. And he's not going to do that. Notably, in his first term, the national debt increased more than almost any other president in modern history. And it seems like with this bill, that's going to happen again. So there's some Republicans that are objecting on that basis. Other Republicans are very concerned about what happens with the SALT tax. And also the Senate has made some changes to Medicaid that could be problematic in the House. So the margin is razor thin. I agree with your guest. It probably will pass, but darn, it's really close.
All right. Let's switch gears to this. You know, I commute into New York City from Charlotte, North Carolina every weekend. And when we had all this national attention about the mayoral race here, I was going, you know what, do you really care that much if you don't live in New York City? Well, here's why maybe we should care, because of the national implications, particularly because of who won. Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani won the party's primary. And this is the race against former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who lost here, and we're not sure what his political future is going to be. But after this election, Mamdani spoke out about where he stands on socialism and capitalism. Listen.
When people say democratic socialist, right, and I'm curious what you think this means. I mean, do you like capitalism?
You're a proud democratic socialist. Do you think that is a platform that would work for other candidates running in other parts of the country?
Absolutely. I think ultimately this is a campaign about inequality.
David, I'll give this one to you first. Is this the right direction for Democrats as you search for a message and a real direction?
I don't think the label socialist is the right message for Democrats moving forward, because it doesn't have appeal in general elections throughout the country. New York is one of the most liberal states, and the voters there chose him. I guess they were okay with that label. They want a change. They like some of his policy perspectives. I think he would be wise to not call himself a socialist, but instead describe the policies that he thinks are socialist, but maybe do have some appeal. And maybe the Democratic Party would adopt some of those policies, but the Democratic Party is not going to adopt socialism. Socialism and socialist policies are not going to be a winning strategy for Democrats, especially on the national level, especially in the next presidential election. And I expect the Democrats will put forward a moderate candidate as they have in the past. We don't know who that is. It's pretty exciting on the Democratic side because it's so unclear who the leader of the party is going to be in the future.
It's just interesting to see the crowds, though, too, that come out for Bernie Sanders and AOC on their Fight the Oligarchy tour and the energy that they have behind them on social media, too. Alex, how do Republicans counter this progressive message? Does this actually excite Republicans that this perhaps is the direction of the Democratic Party?
Listen, as someone who loves New York City, it does not excite me that this lunatic could soon be mayor of one of our greatest cities. And I think you're right, Anna, that a lot of folks weren't paying that much attention to this primary, but the day after, the entire nation woke up to the threat that Zohran Mamdani poses to our great city, the city of New York. And that socialist label, it's a self-described socialist label. He's the one calling himself that. And that is a label that more and more Democrats are comfortable with. Bernie Sanders, AOC, there is a socialist cadre within the Democratic Party that has taken it over. This is a prime exhibit, Exhibit A of where the Democratic Party is going. The only good news is that Mamdani was only able to beat a terrible candidate in Andrew Cuomo, a murderer of seniors in nursing homes, an accused molester in a heat wave where his senior citizen base couldn't come out. Mamdani's beatable in November.
All right, Alex Zdan, David Tafuri, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
39 minutes after the hour, racing into theaters.